She thought it was just another donation box, one of hundreds she'd sorted through that year. But hidden behind a row of untouched bras was something no one at the thrift store expected. A thick, silent envelope that would change everything. And no one ever found out. Until now. In 2021, she was just another part-time worker at a small-town thrift store. The kind of place with dusty shelves, mismatched mugs, and enough mystery donations to keep things interesting. Her job wasn't glamorous. She sorted the stuff no one else wanted. Socks, bras, bedding, and old shoes. Things people barely looked at. Things most wouldn't touch without gloves. But every few months, something shifted. The store held a special quarterly event. A clearance-style sale where all the brand-new items that had been held back were finally released to the public. It was the store's biggest weekend. Customers lined up early, hunting for tags that still had department store barcodes. That's when she and her co-workers would go into overdrive, sorting through boxes, checking every item, making sure prices were right. That's where the box came in. Months earlier, a batch of brand-new bras had been donated. 6 or maybe 8. Clean, pristine, never worn. One of her co-workers boxed them up and marked them for the sale. Then the box disappeared into the back room, forgotten under stacks of other donations. By the time the next sale rolled around, the bras were no longer new. 4 months had passed. But in that store, unless someone came asking, the rule was simple. Forgotten donations stayed forgotten. And no one had come forward. Not a single call, not a single inquiry. It was just another box. But what was hiding inside it was anything but ordinary. It started like every other pricing day. She pulled the bra box from the shelf, peeled back the flaps, and began checking the tags. Nothing out of the ordinary. A few lacy ones, a couple plain cotton. But then, just as she moved the last bra, something strange caught her eye. Tucked tightly behind the fabric, wedged almost too neatly into the back corner. A thick, sealed envelope. No label, no name, no writing. Just a plain, beige envelope. Heavy. Her hands froze. It didn't belong there. That was obvious. People sometimes donated things by mistake. Old jewelry in a purse, a ring left in a coat pocket. But this was intentional, hidden, buried. She looked around. The room was quiet. Her co-worker was sorting shoes on the other side of the store. Without a word, she slid open a drawer in the old metal desk, slipped the envelope inside, and shut it. No questions, no second guesses. Later, during her lunch break, she came back, closed the office door behind her, took out the envelope with shaking hands, and opened it. Inside, cash, stacks of it. 100 after 100 after 100. No note, no explanation. Just a quiet paper wall of money. She counted fast, hands trembling, eyes darting to the hallway every few seconds. $1,000, $2,000, $4,000. She stopped halfway through, heart pounding in her ears. This wasn't some forgotten emergency fund or a stray 50 tucked into an old wallet. This was serious money. The kind of money people don't just lose, especially not in a thrift store. She took a breath and kept going. $6,000, $7,000. By the time she reached $8,000, she wasn't sure if she wanted to laugh, cry, or throw up. It didn't feel real. Just an hour earlier, she was worried about how she'd get to work next week. Her legs were sore from walking across town every morning. Now she was staring at more cash than she'd ever seen in her life, all tucked away behind a bra, in a box, in a thrift store. And still, no one had said anything. No manager announcement, no customer meltdown, no, "Have you seen a missing envelope?" Call. Nothing. It was like the universe had placed it there just for her. She zipped up her bag, walked out of the office, ate half her sandwich in silence. And when her break was over, she went right back to work like nothing happened. She didn't blow it. No vacations, no shopping sprees, no wild nights out. The first thing she bought was a used car. Not because she suddenly wanted to live large, but because she needed it. Badly. Every day she walked to work across town. Rain, heat, didn't matter. Her feet were blistered, her legs ached, and most mornings she was already exhausted before her shift even began. That car? It wasn't luxury, it was freedom. The ability to sleep an hour longer, arrive without sweat pouring down her back, and not have to depend on anyone for a ride ever again. The rest of the money? She kept it close. Quiet. Untraceable. She paid off a few overdue bills, stocked her fridge with more than ramen and dollar store snacks, and for the first time in a long time she didn't feel like she was just surviving. But still, she told no one. Not her coworkers, not her friends, not even her family. Eventually, when she left the thrift store for a better job, she let the secret slip, but even then she lied about the amount. "A couple hundred," she said with a shrug, "tucked in an old donation box." No one suspected the truth, that she'd pocketed a life-changing amount of cash and walked right out the front door with it. Weeks passed, then months. The sale came and went. Hundreds of people rifled through the racks, picking up those same bras, now stripped of their mystery and tagged for $29.99. But not one customer came back asking for a missing envelope, not one phone call, not even a whisper of confusion about the box. And that's what haunted her more than anything else. Because if someone had realized $8,000 was gone, really gone, you'd expect chaos, tears, police reports, flyers, desperate questions from someone who accidentally gave away more than they ever meant to. But it was just silence, which made her wonder, did the person who donated that box even know what was in it? Maybe it was an accident. A hidden emergency stash an elderly woman forgot she tucked away. Or maybe, just maybe, it wasn't forgotten at all. Maybe someone didn't want to be found. An untraceable drop. A silent offload of cash handed to the universe to see what it would do. Whatever the case, no one came looking. And that made the whole thing feel stranger, more surreal, like a secret only she and that envelope would ever share. When her story finally hit the internet, anonymously through a friend who couldn't believe she'd kept it quiet for so long, the reaction was instant and brutal. Reddit lit up, Twitter exploded, TikTok stitched her confession with fire and fury. Half the internet called her a thief. "Finders keepers doesn't apply to $8 grand, one comment read. She knew it wasn't hers. She should have turned it in. Others dragged her character. If you can justify this, what wouldn't you steal? But the other half? They called her a hero. She was broke, overworked, exhausted, and the universe finally threw her a bone. One person wrote, whoever left that money didn't need it, or didn't want it. Maybe they were hoping someone exactly like her would find it. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about morality in the gray zone. What's the right thing to do? When doing the wrong thing might actually save you. As the comment sections grew more intense, one question kept popping up again and again. If it had been you, struggling, tired, one paycheck from sinking, what would you have done? It's been over a year since the bra box incident. She never told her boss, never told her family. Only a few close friends know, and even they don't agree on whether what she did was right. But here's what did change. She's no longer living in her car. She's off antidepressants. She finally had enough money to leave her abusive partner and move into a one-bedroom apartment with locks she controls. The chronic anxiety that once kept her frozen, mostly gone. The money didn't make her rich, but it gave her something even rarer, a reset button. And she took it. She still shops at thrift stores, still volunteers when she can, still feels a pang of guilt when she sees donation bins. But there's one thing she doesn't feel anymore. Helpless. "I used to pray for a miracle," she said once. "Turns out mine came in a box of bras." And even though the world still argues about whether she did the right thing, she knows in the quiet moments that she made the only choice she could. Here's the thing. This isn't just her story. It's a mirror. Because whether we admit it or not, most of us like to think we'd do the right thing. We say we'd turn the money in. We say we'd find the owner. We say we'd walk out of that store with a clear conscience and zero cash. But that's when we're full. That's when the rent is paid and the fridge is stocked. What if you were drowning? What if you'd done everything right and were still losing? What if $8,000 was the line between life and collapse? This woman didn't plan to be a thief. She didn't ask for a moral crisis. She just opened a box of bras and found a question most people don't ever want to face. When no one's watching and everything's on the line, what kind of person are you, really?